Let's do a sound check. And let me share as well. Oh, man. Hello. Hello. Okay. I'm good. Let me just share the video. Let me just give everyone a heads up. This is gonna be. I think this is gonna be a long video, in my opinion. So be strapped in. We're on Twitter. Oof. Give me a second. And let me go on. Let me go on Discord. Overrated podcast. If you guys if you guys want to join. Do this on the sports thing also. Okay. And then one more, and then we should be ready to go. Actually, no, I'm good. I'm good. Let me check something out real quick, cause I do have a rant. Um, but I want to make sure I'm good. I want to make sure I have everything ready to go. And no, they're not. Hi. Hold on. Give me a second. Yeah, I'm looking for a picture. I'm looking for a photo. Give me a second. Okay. Okay, I know I'm doing wrong. Yeah, just give me a second. Come on, still open. Trying to look for something, I can't fucking find it. It's crazy. Man. If I can find it here. There we go. Alright. Yeah, I should have known this before I got live, but yeah. I can't fucking find it. Alright, alright. Oh, damn it, hold on. Alright, for some reason, I can't find the team photos of all the teams. That's what I'm looking for. I don't know why. I don't know why I can't find it. Um, I don't know if I'm doing something wrong or something like that. I put like I'm trying to find it. I don't know. I don't. Okay, whatever. Fuck it, man. Anyways, what's going on, everybody? Who we 186 back again with another live stream. Yeah, man. I have to talk about this because obviously we're not doing the podcast right now, but one of our biggest, me and Steve's biggest arguments.
Obviously we're not doing the podcast right now, but
one of me and Steve's biggest arguments is the All-Star game. Right? He believes that these guys gotta take it seriously and all the other stuff. I legit don't care. I just don't care. Not because I not because like I have some type of issue with the game or anything like that. I just, me personally, I've never been one to really take All-Star games seriously. It has never been my thing. Right? So for me, like if the game is good, then the game is good. Whatever. If the game sucks, then the game sucks. Like it doesn't affect me at the end of the day because, like I said, I what I care about is what goes on. Ultimately, all I care about what goes on with my team, which is the Miami Heat, right? And props to Tyler Hero. He was an all-star. Props to him. Well deserved. But because of the new format, he really didn't get a chance to showcase his skills, and I'll talk about that later. What I want to do, I want to start from Friday, and then we can and then we'll go on from there. So Friday, I don't really I watch normally when it comes to like the All-Star weekend, I normally really only care about Saturday, right? Because I'll watch the 3-point contest. I do like the skills competition, even though based on what I saw, I didn't get a chance to watch it this year. But according to what I saw, what's going on, Multi? How you doing, bro? Yeah, what's going on, man? According to what I saw, right, and I didn't watch the skills competition, right? What do you call it, the one where teams of two and all that other stuff, right? I didn't get a chance to watch it, but apparently Wembanyama was just hawking the ball up and doing whatever. I don't know what the hell that was about. That was weird. But regardless of that, right? So Friday. Well, no. Let me start with Friday. Right? Because Friday, I don't really care too much about Friday. Normally, it's the rookie game or rookie versus sophomore game as it should have been, and I'll explain that later. And they have they have the celebrity game and stuff like that, right? Now, first thing first, I don't know if I was mistaken, but they had Jello Ball performing. Like, really? Really? Of all the Ball brothers to make it to All-Star Weekend, you're gonna pick Jello with his I guess his rap. I've never heard the rap song. But apparently is bad in a good way or whatever, and he gets to perform at the All-Star game. I find that to be completely weird. I find that to be completely nuts. Regardless of that, all right. So he oh, you got kidding me. I got glitched into the wall. Whatever. Let's start over. Um. So all right. So you have that, and then let me address the rookie versus G League game, right? Listen, I get the whole Jello can Leangelo. Oh yeah, Leangelo can play in the league. Well, I mean, if he could, he would be in it. Like if he could, he would be in the league. Like I don't know. I don't really give two shits about Oh, beautiful. Yeah, I personally I don't really care about Jello. I was just kind of making a comment, but I don't really care about Jello. Um, look, like here's the thing, right? And I get it with Matt McClung. He's kind of put a good word in for the G League or whatever, but it's not, bro. Like rookie versus G League, I don't get it. It's the only reason why he's not in the NBA. I mean, maybe, but look, I think it's pretty clear that he's the worst of the three. Like, let's be real here. He's not like, and the only reason why Lonzo Ball, is in the situation he's in, is because of his injuries. If he wasn't hurt, he obviously he's not better than LaMelo, right? Like, defensively he is. He's a lot better. But Lonzo Ball is 100% a point guard and a starting point guard in the league, right? He definitely is, right? Not better than LaMelo, right? But he definitely is a starting point guard in the league. Obviously we all know about LaMelo, like he's the best. He's the best of the group, right? There's no question about that. His dad was right about that, definitely. And LiAngelo, I mean, I I mean, could he play in the league? Yeah, sure, maybe, but I don't. I'm not losing sleep over LiAngelo not playing. Not being in the league. I don't like. I just don't. I just don't care, to be honest with you. What else did you say? Oh, sorry. Yes, he's the worst with three, but he's very strong. He could average like 12 points a game in the starting lineup. I guess so, man. But I just don't care. To be honest with you, I just don't care. And here's the thing when it comes to, and then let me get to the G League thing. Like, we don't want to see those guys play. Like, we just don't, man. Especially now that you're not doing the G League Ignite anymore, right? You're not doing that anymore. What's the point of having them in All Star Weekend? Like, there's no reason to. At the very least, the first and second year players, the freshmen and sophomores, they're NBA players. So like, why do this? Why are we doing this, right? So I think that's the first thing that needs to change. Like, do not add. If the G League want to do slam dunk contests, since I'll address that later also. But if they want to do that, then fine. But like rookies versus rookies versus G League does not work. Let's cut that shit out. All right, so on to Saturday. Let's move on to Saturday, right? So I mentioned the whole thing with Wembanyama and I don't know him seemingly trolling the skills game, right? And so I think what they did this year, correct Multa, if you know, let me know, because I caught on to. I didn't watch the slam dunk contest live. I missed that live. I watched the 3-point contest. Now I did hear that the 3-point contest was going to be the main event, right? Because for as long as I can remember, the slam dunk contest was always the main event. Oh, you didn't watch anything? Yeah, I don't really blame you. Um, like the slam dunk. I believe the slam dunk contest came in first, right? Started first, and I have to give a lot of props to Matt McClung. Like that was one of the best slam dunk performances that I've ever seen, right? And the thing that you know puts it over the top is that he nailed every trick in his first try, which I probably think he did last year as well. But these dunks that he was doing were insane, right? Like yeah, I'm trying to jump over the the trash can. You can say that I'm trying to jump over All Star Weekend. um, so the like all his tricks were insane. Like the first one, if it was up to me, I would scrap all the contests and only do West versus East All Stars, and the players actually try. Don't worry, I'll address all that in a second. But the one that he did over the car, like he actually jumped over the car, unlike Blake Griffin. Like don't let anyone fool you. Blake Griffin was given that slam dunk award. I forgot what year it was, but it was a long time ago. He was given that award. Rewarded player with an All Star selection. Yeah. Don't worry, I'll address all that in a second. Um, but the trick to me, the best trick for me is the one with the ladder. Yeah, he won in 2011. Yeah, he won. Technically, he won. But to me, DeMar DeRozan had better dunks in that. Yeah, that one I saw live. Yeah, I was at work when that happened. I was at work when that happened. But DeMar DeRozan won that one, in my opinion. And you know, Matt McClung, props to him. He actually jumped over the car, not over the hood. He jumped over the actual car. So I give him props. But the one that he did with the double dunks with the ladder, that was nuts. That was crazy, and he did it on his first try. Absolutely crazy. Like to me, he was the biggest winner in All Star Weekend, in my opinion, because not only was his dunk contest legendary, but it also had a bunch of NBA players claiming, and I you know I had the quotation marks out there, claiming that they were going to perform. I saw Ja Morant say it, Zach LaVine say it, and Zach LaVine, I'll give him a pass because he's already competed and he already won twice, so I'll give him a pass. And then I think Giannis said he would do it also. I mean, Giannis doesn't have to do it. He has nothing to prove. Right, but Ja Morant, and I made a comment on this on Twitter to him, bro. Don't make promises you're not going to keep. You've already said that you're not going to you weren't going to do it, right? You already said you weren't going to do it, right? And just because you have this dude, you know, basically making you guys look you know, you guys are scared. Let's be real, you guys are scared to do it. It is what it is, right? They're scared to do it. But don't sit there and be like, oh, I might as well, I guess I'll try. And get the fuck out of here. No one wants to hear that bullshit. Because we all know that you're not going to do it in a year's time. Right? You're going to use whatever reason why you niggas aren't going to do it. So stop pretending that you're going to. Just because you were quote, like, because you saw all the great shit that Matt McClung was doing. The fact that a G Leaguer had to come in and do the slam dunk contest is a huge indictment on all you guys. And look, at the end of the day, if you guys don't want to do it, that's fine. But don't give me this bullshit. Don't give me this bullshit about, I'm gonna maybe I'll do it this year. Get the fuck out of here. LeBron James pulled the same bullshit, and we saw how that happened. And you know, like I said, I'm gonna go on a huge rant on the NBA players in a moment, but yeah, man, this is the type of bullshit that makes NBA players unlikable. And I'm not one of these people who you know, hate the NBA and all the other shit and think that the product is bad or anything like that. I actually don't think it is. And I also don't think NBA players in general are unlikable. But it's bullshit like this that and some of the bullshit that other guys did, and I'll call them out on it too. That gives people such a bad taste in their mouth when it comes to the NBA and the players. And I think a lot of it is not deserved, but when you guys pull bullshit like this, it's hard to argue. So, you had that. Props to Tyler Hero. He won the 3-point contest. Let me read the comment from you. McGee was the only bench warmer in that 2011 contest. Today it's all bench warmers. Yeah, I mean, in fairness to the contest, like, remember, like, there was a couple years where it got canceled. You know what I mean? Like, where they didn't even do it. It was only until Vince Carter did his where it got revitalized. Remember, a couple years ago they stopped doing it. So so this has been an issue. There's not like, I know a lot of people like to blame LeBron James for it, and I'll get to LeBron in a second. But truth be told, there are guys who ultimately just don't want to do it for whatever reason. They just don't want to do it, and that's fine. If you don't want to do it, then that's fine. But don't sit there and cap to the NBA fan being like, oh, maybe I'll do it this year. Like, fuck out of here. We know you're not gonna do it, because if you were gonna do it, you would have done it already. And it should not have to take a D leaguer on his third try, winning 3 years in a row, for you to motivate you guys to do it. Like, come on, that's horseshit. Let's cut the bullshit. So Tyler Hero won the 3-point contest. Props to him. And I think that's really it for Saturday. I can't think of anything else that happened Saturday. That yeah, I really can't think of anything. So on the Sunday, right? A lot of shit happened on Sunday. For one, I guess LeBron, like, a couple players didn't play, right? Actually, no. Fuck that. Let's go back. Let's talk about the game. And now let's actually go back to, I want to say, a couple weeks ago, when after the players got picked and the teams were set, TNT did a, what would you call it? They did a draft, right? With Kenny, Charles, Shaq, or whatever, right? Candace Parker coached the young guys team, right? She did that, right? Chuck, Kenny, and Shaq did their own team, picked their own team, right? And it was clearly staged, clearly fake. Like, Charles Barkley picked international players, really? All the guy that he picked were the international players, really? Kenny picked the young stars, and Shaq picked the OGs, right? And all the players that they picked happen to fit that criteria. To me, that's garbage, and I'll tell you why that's garbage. Because the reason why it's garbage is because now you're telling me that these teams you're not picking these teams, correctly. You pick these teams based off of, you pick a certain amount of players in the East and a certain amount of players in the West. If this was all just, pick the best players, beautiful. If it's just, pick the best player, why are we separating East versus West? Just pick the best 24 players and that's it. Why we have, if you're not going to do East versus West, and that's what I see multiple wanting to do. If you're not going to do East versus West, then why the fuck are we still picking 12 from the East and 12 from the West? Why are we still doing that? Because if we're just going to pick random teams of 8, then you might as well pick the 24 best players in the league and that's it. Regardless of where they're at. Just pick the top 24 players and we're done. And it's not even like these teams were clearly set up. It was clearly, it was staged. It was completely staged. Like, what are we doing here, man? What are we doing here? Like, if you wanted to separate it organically, then fine. But we all know, that when it comes to players, when they did the whole, team captain thing, we know how some players are. Some players are too sensitive to pick, to be picked last, right? They're too sensitive to deal with that. So that's why that was I know one year it wasn't broadcast at all, and they got away and they did away with it because some of the players were too soft to be picked last. We know how that goes. So, but yeah, but why are we contriving these picks? If these are the players that Barkley wanted, then fine. But the vast majority of them were international players that he wanted to pick. I don't buy that shit for a second. Let me see. Well, to be fair, Magic played in the All-Star game the year after he retired and won as MVP. Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. I know that. I know that. Like yeah, but I know that. I know the fans picked him. I know the fans picked him. And I don't have a problem with that either. I really don't. But if you're going to do this thing where hey, we're just gonna separate the teams and do this format, then why are we separating best players from each conference if they're not going to be playing against each other? Why are we even doing that? Hell, I mean I would argue why were we doing that even when the captains were doing the picking? Like, just pick the top 24 players and that's it. But as far as with Magic Johnson, I don't have a problem with that. I really don't. Like, it's one of the arguments I use against Steve when he keeps talking about, oh well, NBA All Star Game is based off of merit, and I'm like, I mean, yeah, to an extent, sure, but you're gonna have fans are gonna always want to pick their favorite players, right? And I think that it is an All Star game. So it is where it is, right? So, all right. So yeah, I had a problem with that, right? And then the format. Let me address the format real quick, right? And I'll address Draymond Green, his comments as well. To me, I understood what they were trying to do because last year, there was literally no defense being played, and Adam Silver decided to try something new. And I mean, at the end of the day, I know there's definitely people who don't like Adam Silver. Me personally, I don't look at him as a bad commissioner at all. Like, I'm not gonna sit there and be like, oh, he's the greatest commissioner of all time. I'm definitely not doing that. Do I think he's better than David Stern? I don't know. David Stern, did a lot of good for the league. Even if, truth be told, I don't think David Stern was ever a likable person. Like, I definitely don't look like he don't look like the type of person I would like to talk to. Let's just say that. He definitely don't look like the type of person that I would like to talk to. Like, Adam Silver looks like a much more relatable human being. I'm just being honest. But there's no denying the impact that David Stern had in the NBA with how he commissioned the game, right? Like, you can't deny that. I actually noticed you guys still watch football but don't mention watching NBA Live anymore. Well, I mean, it's different because football is a once a week event, right? And what the fuck? Oh, come on. Got a scam trying to call me. Yeah, football is a once a week type thing. So the games matter more. And basketball, you get like what 3-4 games a week. During the regular season, the games don't mean as much. But for me, as a Heat fan, I watch every Heat game. Like that's never gonna change, right? And the Dolphins, I watch the Dolphins every week, right? Like, that's not gonna change either. Like, when it comes to teams, I'll support my teams. If there's an interesting Sunday night game, I'll watch that as well. Like, not so much for basketball because I don't care for that many teams in basketball. But like even with that, if there's an interesting matchup, I'll see if I can watch it. But like you said, when it comes to football, the stakes are just higher because of the nature of the sport. So yeah. So where was I at? Let me see, where was I at? All right, so you had the game, you had the format, right? And like I said, I'll give Adam Silver credit for trying something new, right? And the format is actually not, it's not really new it's not new because the NHL does the same format. And the NHL and yeah. Let me address that real quick, and then I'll get to another topic. But the NHL, right? Their divisions are separated by four divisions, right? And the All Star that they pick are based off of divisions. So you have four teams and they play a tournament, and the team who wins game one will play the team that wins game two, and that's how they do it in the NHL. So the NBA took it from the NHL, and look, people want to sit there and give the NHL a whole bunch of credit, and look, the NHL, it's a great sport. Hockey's a great sport. I watch it. Thankfully, now the Panthers are good, or really good. But their All Star game, truth be told, is just as bad. It's just as bad. And not because, and it's not really because of the format. It's just that it's just not something that I think a lot of people are interested in. I just don't think people are really interested because they do a lot of the same stuff. Like they'll do, skate challenges and hottest shot and all the other stuff. And a couple years ago, they had one down here, and I couldn't go through like you had a couple Heat players in it. I mean not Heat players, Panther players in it. But dude, I couldn't watch. It was boring. Couldn't watch it. And the All Star game, I didn't even bother watching the All Star game because truth be told, it's not real hockey. It's 3-on-3. It's not real hockey, so I just can't watch. But the format stuff, they got that from the NHL. That's where they got that from. And I understood the idea of what he was trying to make, especially when you add in the young players, right? Because truth be told, he had to do something to get these guys to try. Right? And while I can sit there and say that I don't really give a shit about the NBA All-Star game and all the other stuff, like I really don't. But with that said, it's obvious these dudes aren't trying. They're not trying. Like, so he had to do something to spice it up. And truth be told, the only game of the three, All-Star game that they played, the only game that was competitive was I forgot whose team it was, but versus the young guys. Those were the only that was the only game that was competitive. Why? Because those veterans do not want to lose to a bunch of rookies and second year players. So there was an incentive for them not to lose. Because they didn't want to get embarrassed. Because the one thing that you notice throughout all of this, when it comes to NBA players, the vast majority of them do not want to be embarrassed. They would rather not try than get embarrassed. You know what I mean? That's just how it is. And I'll get to LeBron more in a second, but same thing with guys not competing in the slam dunk contest. They rather not compete than get embarrassed. And I think that's what LeBron James is. I think that's one of LeBron James's biggest weaknesses, is that he would rather not try than get embarrassed. Right? Whether it's the slam dunk contest, or I think there are people, because in the women are doing this unrivaled competition, right? And they had their tournament just past weekend. This past weekend they did their thing, right? And they had what they called a one-on-one tournament. And the person who won the tournament was Nahisa Collier. For those of you who don't know, she's the best player on the Minnesota Lynx. And she had just recently, taken the Minnesota Lynx to the WNBA finals against the New York Liberty. And I actually watched some of the games in the series. much better than the NBA Finals. I don't give a damn what Steve says. That series was so much better than the NBA Finals. And to their credit, in a couple years they're like the games is 5-game series. In the future they're gonna do 7-game series, right? And Lisa Collier was one of the best players. Is the best player on Minnesota, and she won the one-on-one tournament. And I remember LeBron James saying that one-on-one basketball is not real basketball. And I mean, sure, it's not real basketball, but we're not going to sit there and pretend that one-on-one basketball isn't a key factor in basketball in general, in basketball discourse. Like, we're not going to pretend that. We're not going to pretend that is not the case. Because one of the first NBA games that I can remember was NBA, I think it was called All-Star Challenge, which is a one-on-one basketball game. They had licensed players, they had Jordan, Bird, Magic, all the top players in the league at that time. So don't sit there and pretend that one-on-one isn't real basketball. Like, it is. It may not be it may not be basketball in the truest sense, but it's still basketball. Like fuck out of here with that bullshit. But anyways, what was I saying? Yeah, so the format, so the NBA All-Star format, they tried something new, and I respect Adam Silver for doing so. However, there's a couple things wrong with the format, right? And it goes into a conversation that really was spearheaded by Draymond Green, because Draymond Green was on the TNT broadcast with Vince Carter. Who else was there? There was another, and Jalen Rose, right? And they were talking about the format, and Draymond Green was not a fan of the format because he said that the rookies basically, excuse me, the rookie didn't deserve to be on the floor, right? He was just saying that this game, that court is sacred. It's only reserved for all-stars. And here's the thing. I don't disagree. Oh, what's going on, man? How you doing? Thank you for watching. Look, I'm good, bro. I'm good. I'm just playing session, talking about NBA basketball. So yeah. So he's not wrong in what he's saying. The problem. Hey, what's going on, man? How you doing? How have you been, bro? It's been a long time since I heard from you. How you been? Yeah. So like Draymond Green going on about the game being sacred and all the other stuff. Like, I don't disagree with him, but here's the problem. Dickhead, the reason why they have to do it is because you niggas don't try. Like, that's just how it is. You dudes don't try. You talk about being an all-star sacred. You niggas don't play like it. You guys play like it's an obligation that you guys would rather not deal with. And that's a fact. Regardless of how I feel about Steve's opinion on the All-Star game, the one thing that I've never disagreed with him on is that these dudes are not trying. They're not trying. Now, it doesn't bother me because, like I said, I don't care about the All-Star game. But you can't sit here, and this is my biggest problem with Draymond, and a lot of the NBA players for that matter. You can't sit here and have your cake and eat it too. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't bitch about formats. You can't bitch about this and that and all the other stuff that Draymond was complaining about when you're out there and you've been an all-star and you guys have contributed to people not taking the game seriously. They don't take the game seriously because you niggas don't take the game seriously. That's just a fact. You guys don't take the game seriously. So why do you think they have to do all this changes for the sake of it? No. They have to do it because they have to motivate you guys to try. They have to, because you guys aren't trying. like I said, it don't bother me, but you can't sit here, bitch about something, and then complain when the results of you guys doing something come to fruition. That's a fact. So yeah. So to me the format, I don't like the format. And here's the biggest problem with the format, in my opinion. Who came up with the idea of 40 point games? Who the fuck came up with that idea, dude? Like these dude with all the threes that they shoot nowadays, you can get 40 in 2 minutes. Uh, um, yeah, Nintendo Gamer. I'm gonna get to you in a second. Let me just get off this point real quick, and I'll respond to you in a second. Um, in what world is 40 points and especially when you're still doing twos and threes? What made Adam Silver, whoever came up with this, think that 40 was this grand number? It don't make no sense. These dudes can get to 40 points in a hurry. And the thing that annoys me most about what they did is that it didn't give any of the young guys a chance to shine. The first time players, the Cade Cunninghams, right? The Tyler Heroes, the I can't think of any others, but the first time All Stars, they don't have time to they don't have any time to really establish themselves, showcase themselves, because all dudes do is just shoot threes anyway. That's all these guys do. They shoot threes. And I mean, what? How many threes does it take to get to 40 points? What, like 10 threes? No. Realistically, 13 threes. And these guys are just chucking them up from three. So if you're going to do this format again, which I hope they don't, but if you're going to do the format again, you gotta do a higher number. You gotta get it to at least 90. So you can get other players into the game, right? I also have to address this. I'm gonna be all over the place, so I do apologize. I do have to address this. What the fuck was going on with all those advertisements they were doing? I ain't talking about commercials. I'm talking about all these halftime show stuff that they were doing during the games. Like, I don't mind celebrating the music of the city, right? I don't mind that. I don't mind honoring inside the NBA. Do we have to do that while the game is going on? Really? Like, you decided to cut the game short, right? You decided to cut the game short, have a 40 point limit, so that we can see what Kevin Hart bomb on TV. Like, we can watch En Vogue sing. Like, come on, man. Like, what are we doing here? What are these guys doing? Like, every time, like, I'll switch in between that and the Daytona 500, because there really was nothing else to watch on TV. So, I already did my what do you call it? DoorDash run. So I just wanted to stay at home and watch TV, right? And every time I switch away from Daytona 500, I will try to watch the game, and they're doing a celebration of some sort or some sort while the fucking game is not even done. And since the games are short, now I have to watch more people on the court, and there's no basketball being played. I don't understand this. I don't get it. Like, man, I don't understand what they're trying to do. I really don't. I get he's trying to do some different thing, but that was a fail in my opinion. That was a fail. All right, let me read some stuff from Nintendo Gamer. We need to private message. Did you ever get your email? Add some updates. Yeah, don't worry, man. We'll communicate when I get a chance. Oh, no. The game I'm playing is Session. It's a skateboarding game. It is on Switch. So if you want to play it, it is on Switch. I really can't wait for the Switch too. I think Nintendo will do what fans really want. Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. Like I said, unfortunately, I had to get rid of mine a couple months ago because I'm dealing with some financial issues. I don't want to get too deep into it, but I'm dealing with some financial issues, so I had to get rid of mine. But if I can get everything back on track, I would definitely love to get a Switch too. I just want to see how it is, um, what the graphics are, how powerful it's gonna be in the games that are gonna launch. But I definitely do want to get a Switch too. I'm definitely interested. All right, so yeah, I know it sucks, but that's how life is, man. Like people go through stuff. It's a matter of how you bounce back. That would matter most than anything else, right? Everyone's gonna have bad moments. Everyone's gonna have a bad time. It's just a matter of how you handle it at the end of the day, right? So I'm doing okay. I'll see. Like I said, I'm just trying to make sure that my financial situation is better, and I'll be good. But I do appreciate your concern. Um, yeah. So they did the games. Like I said, I don't like I didn't like the format. I didn't like this and that. But the another thing that I noticed from the discourse was everything going on with LeBron James, right? Now, me and Steve have a huge argument about this every time because like Steve is a LeBron James hater. He may want to deny it, but he is. He's a LeBron James hater, right? And I am a LeBron James defender in his eyes because one, LeBron James used to play for the Heat, and I was a fan. And two, and most importantly, I will never deny his greatness, especially the stuff he's doing now at his age, right? Being 40 years old, with all the miles that he's played, with all the stuff that he's done, and in fairness to him, even though I'm going to criticize him in a second, I believe he played hurt in the All Star game last year, so I give him props for that. I give him so much props for everything he's done for his career. And I think a lot of the people whose hatred for LeBron James is only skewed because they don't because of people's infatuation with Michael Jordan, right? That's the only thing. That's the to me. I feel like that's the crux of why people don't like him, right? Because whatever stuff that he said in the past, about believing he's the GOAT, as if players are not allowed to believe, you know how good they are and how good they feel like they've been in their career. Like I've always defended him on stuff like that. What he pulled yesterday, I can't defend. Because here's what I think happened. Now, he said he was hurt. I believe he said that earlier in the day. He was hurt, right? So he said he wasn't going to play. All right, if you're hurt, you're hurt. There's no problem with that, right? No problem with that. If you're hurt, you're hurt, right? Um, here's my biggest problem with what he did. Now they took the team photo. I was looking for the team photos, right? Well, let me also mention this. He's not the only one that didn't play, right? Giannis didn't play, but he was hurt, and they had a replacement for him. Anthony Edwards also was hurt. Now I didn't see Anthony Edwards anywhere, so I don't know if he took team photos or anything like that. But if he's hurt, he's hurt. It is what it is, right? But here's the thing that I'll criticize LeBron James on. He took team photos with the team, with the other All Stars, and on whatever team they're on. I don't remember, and I don't even care. So he took the team photo, but he took the team photo without the jersey on. Everyone else was wearing a jersey except for him. And I figured that his ankle injury has to be bad enough to where he doesn't physically cannot change uniform. Basically, his ankle hurt that bad. Here's what I think happened. He protested the game. That's what he did. I know people, I've heard people talk about it, and I heard people, criticize LeBron James for not playing or not letting people know. But no person that I've heard say this, and I believe this is what he did. He protested the game. Because last year, what was it about? Last year, he was the one on saying, "Oh, it's for the fans. I do it for the fans," and all the other crap, right? Alright, fine, whatever. You do it for the fans. Now you don't do it for the fans because you're hurt. And if you're hurt, that's fine. If you're hurt, but now you take team photos without the uniform. Come on, we know what you were doing. You protested the game because you didn't like the format. If you didn't like the format, that's fine. Then don't go to the game. He's there on the bench, haha, and kikiing and all the other bullshit, not wearing the uniform. And Giannis hurt, but he wore the uniform. You know what I mean? He wore the uniform, like he was participating even though he couldn't play, right? He still was there. What makes you so much better than him or anybody else? And trust me, I'm someone who has defended LeBron James in the past, right? I have, and a lot of people they take this as a moment to shit on him, and it's unfortunate because it shouldn't have to be that. Critical drop, what's going on, man? So, well, the format that the players' fault. When's the next podcast? You gotta the next podcast. You gotta ask your brother. Like, you gotta ask your brother, man. Because the only reason why we can't do it is because of the situation that he's in. You know what I mean? And that's just the truth of it. Again, I'm not in the best financial situation myself. But I can do the podcast. But is Steve, and I know he has a couple jobs that he's doing, so I can't get mad at. I'm not mad at him for it. But people ask me. I have several people ask me, well, what happened with the podcast? And I have to tell them the truth. Steve right now he can't do it. So the podcast you gotta ask your brother. Oh, FYI, congratulations on the arrival of your nephew. Give Gina my best. Yeah. So I was gonna get on that too, McKinley. Like I'm not one of these players who like to shit on NBA players and all the other crap, right? I'm not that guy. You know what I mean? I've really never been that guy. But the truth be told, the reason why the league is doing this, wow, that was crazy. The reason why the league is doing this is because of you guys. It's because of y'all. Cause y'all don't care about the weekend. And that's fine. But don't sit there and act like and be like, oh well, you can't do this, you can't do that, and this all the crap. And like, come on, man, we don't want to hear the nonsense. We don't. Like you guys made it clear how you guys felt about the game by your effort. You niggas didn't try. And like I said, it doesn't bother me. But it bothers me that now they're offended with people getting upset and all the other stuff, and them being upset with the format. Like, that's on y'all. Ultimately that's on you guys. Now, what would I do to change it? One, if you're going to do the format again, just pick the top like 24. Yeah, just pick the top 24 players. If you're not going to do East versus West, which it really should be. It should be East versus West. The reason why I'm not gonna I don't want to do international versus US is because, like, I know they have a lot of international players in the league, but how many of them are actual All-Stars? You know what I'm saying? Like, how many of them are actual All-Stars? So, and then let's say if you have, like, obviously the league is littered with international players, but how many international All-Stars do they have? Like, I don't want, like, truth be told, I don't want to see Dylan Brooks in the All-Star game because he's Canadian. You know what I mean? Like, because he's one of the best Canadian players in the game. And I'm sure they have more than enough, but the pool of international players are to me, in my opinion, are too small to do U.S. versus the world. If you want to do it for 1 year, try it out. I don't mind it. But like doing USA versus the world every year, I just think you're just gonna get the same guys over and over again. So if it was up to me, I would rather just them do East versus West. But if you have to do this format again, one, no first or second year guys. No, let's not do that. Because I just don't think I don't think it's gonna work out that way. If you're gonna do it, either expand the field of all stars to where you have 4 teams, 8 teams each, so 8 times 4, 32. Just have 32 all stars in the league. Just pick the best 32 players and have them play. They can get separated by teams of 4, and you can do the format again, higher number like 90, and then that's it, right? Keep the performances to a minimum, and let's watch some actual basketball. You know what I mean? I'd rather them do that. What else is there? Like I said, I really, really, I can't really think of anything else. Because like I said, if you're just gonna do an All-Star game, just do East versus West. Like fuck it. Your slam dunk contest, Mac was fire. Tyler Hero won 3-point contest. Even commentary liked Heat. What water do you give the players? Yeah, keep East versus West back when it was competitive. Yeah, I feel like most of the players would prefer that too. But here's the thing: the reason why they're doing all this, and McKinley, you made it, you said it, and I agree with you 100%. Charles Barkley said it, and I agree with him 100%. And this is coming from somebody who does not care about the All-Star game, regardless. Like, even if they go back to East versus West, I'm not gonna sit there and be like, oh, I'm gonna watch. Like, no. Either I'm home, I'll watch it maybe. If not, then if I have something better to do, I'm gonna do that. But the reason why they're doing this now, the NBA is doing this, is because you guys don't want to try. This is on you guys. And the one thing that I like, even if I agree with some of the stuff that Draymond Green said, the one thing that he didn't do, and this is one of the things that people don't like about Draymond and the NBA in general, is these dudes do not hold themselves accountable to anything. Not one time did he blame the players for what happened. And the players are the only reason why this shit is happening. The only reason why they had to get G Leaguers involved in the bring the first year players to the All-Star game, because they know that a set of you All-Stars are gonna try, because you guys don't want to lose to a bunch of rookies. It's the only reason why they got you guys to try. That's why that game was the most competitive, because they didn't want to get embarrassed. That's it. This is on you guys. And again, like I said before, I'm not a blame the player type of person. That's more of Steve's thing. But if it quacks like a duck, walks like a duck is a duck. You know what I mean? You guys are the reason why the league is in the, had to do what they did. That's why. So, and for him not to acknowledge it, it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me, because that's the type of person that Draymond Green is, right? As talented as he is doing the talking and all the other stuff, like, the one thing that you know about him, that he's never gonna hold himself or the players accountable. Just not. And they're the reason. They're the reason. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't really have anything else to say. Oh, well, actually, let me also say this. I saw a lot of people, and this is when I have to defend, what the NBA is doing, as opposed to hockey. Because in hockey, what they're doing, instead of having an All-Star game of their own, they're doing this thing called the Four Nations Cup, right? Where you have 4 nations, USA, Canada, Sweden, Finland. They bring the best players from the NHL. They separate them by 4 games, and then they have like basically a 2-week tournament, right? 4 teams, round robin, double elimination, and the 2 teams at the end, which is USA and Canada, are gonna play and win the inaugural tournament. Here's the thing: a lot of people are being like, "Oh, the NHL did this right, the NBA did not," and a lot of it had to happen on Saturday, when Team USA and Team Canada got into 3 fights in 9 seconds, right? and people are talking about how amazing it was and all the other stuff. Now, for all the people talking about how amazing it was, I want to see those ratings be high as hell. Because the one thing that a lot of people don't want to talk about is NHL ratings are down also. NHL ratings are also down. Everyone talks about the NBA and their ratings. The NHL ratings are also down. And these are the athletes that according to a lot of people, and in a lot of ways I agree with them, they care, they're more nicer to the media and all the other stuff. But yet people are not watching the NHL also. Or at least not to the level that people have to be worried, right? I do think a lot of the discourse around ratings nowadays is very overstated for like NHL, NBA, whatever, right? I think a lot of people just kind of, I feel like a lot of people are overstating it, right? But the truth is the truth, right? The ratings are down in the NBA, but they're also down in the NHL. And I want to see that USA Canada game dwarf the NBA All Star game, the All Star game ratings. I want to see it dwarf the NBA All Star game ratings. I don't know if it will or not, but for all the capping that you guys are doing about the Four Nations Cup and all the other stuff, like I want to see those ratings high as hell. But back to my point, right? They're comparing a weekend, a 2-week tournament to an all-star festivities. Like, they're not the same. They're not the same at all. You're talking about taking pride in your country and to an all-star weekend. They were never going to be the same. Of course, the amount of try was going to be higher in the NHL, right? Because they're playing for their country. Like all these guys are there for is for sponsorships and shit like that. That's all they're there for. And also, let's also take into account if let's say if the NBA had a USA versus the world thing, and there were 4 fights in the first 30 seconds of the game, people will be calling for the boycott of the NBA. Let's be real here. They'll be calling for the boycott of the NBA if they see a bunch of niggas fighting, fisticuffs and all that other stuff. Let's be real here. There's always been a double standard when it comes to fighting in the NHL and fighting in the NBA, right? Like, because in hockey, it's not as accepted anymore, but it still happens. And what did they get for it? They get 5 minutes in the penalty box, and people don't say anything. But if you have one guy swing a punch in the NBA, that guy's a thug, and there's all the other garbage that goes on, right? So comparing the two and I see a whole bunch of people doing it. Comparing the two, to me, is garbage. They're not the same. They're not designed the same. And obviously one's going to be better than the other because the stakes are higher. That's why. But that's not an indictment on the NBA that a lot of people want to make it be. It's not an indictment on the NBA. It's just a matter of fact. Because truth be told, like the original NHL All-Star game ain't nothing to write home about either. But they decided to do this as a test run, and I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's done well. I've seen the USA play, and it was fun. It's fun. It was great stuff, and plus, you have a couple Panther players on every team, so that's good. But like I said, I'll defend the NBA on that. Everything else, when it comes to this weekend, and I'll cap it off with this. The NBA, the weekend, to me was a fail. And I'll give Silver credit for trying, but bro, like this All-Star game as is not gonna work. Now, if you want to scrap the game all together, then it's fine by me. I don't watch, so I don't give a shit. I don't care. But if you're going to fix the game, to me, less is more. Just do East versus West. If you want to put in incentives about how you can get them to try, I don't mind that. But let's try to cut the fat from this year's festivities because it was not needed. interruptions in the shows and all the other stuff, all the I guess you could say in-game entertainment, not necessary, not close to being necessary. Just do East versus West, USA versus the world, or do a better format where guys get more time to showcase their skills. Let's try to be more proactive here. Like, come on now. Like I said, but ultimately it was garbage. It was a fail. Like, and I knew it was gonna get a lot of traction because of all the stuff going on with what Draymond said and what LeBron James did. And in a way, I guess you could say that helped the NBA, be a talking point. But this is not ultimately this is not how you promote the league. That's not how you promote the league. Like, Draymond didn't help with his comments. And that's the funny thing is that the one thing that a lot of people talk about with the NBA and the inside the NBA guys, and as great as they are, the one thing that those guys do, and I have to call them on it, they do a very bad job of promoting the sport. They do. And people, and I know Steve said this, well, they're telling the truth, all this other stuff, and I get it. But you guys are partners at the end of the day. Your job ultimately is to promote the best of your sport. And I think that guys like Charles, Kenny does to an extent, and Shaq, I don't know about Shaq, but like guys like Charles, they do a bad job of promoting the sport. They really do. They want to get themselves over with the jokes and all the other stuff, and I get it, and a lot of it is funny. Like, make no mistake about it, the show, as is phenomenal. It's a great show, but it does a very bad job of promoting the NBA. It just does. It just does. Like, regardless of how you feel about the players, the teams, the league, they do a bad job of promoting the sport. They really do. And Draymond Green, who's the guy who claims to be part of the new media, he put a hatchet to the format. Called it a zero, called it garbage, called it ridiculous, called it not basketball, right? That definitely not promoting the sport. And we all know that the format, for the most part, is not good. But you want to, spend time talking up some of the guys in the game, like, Steph Curry, who, from what I heard, was the guy who came up with the idea of the 14 format. You could talk about, guys like Kate Cunningham, Tyler Hero, Victor Wembanyama. But instead of doing that, the viral clip that you had, was you shitting on the game and the format of the game. That's not promoting the league either. Even if a lot of what you said was correct, you're not promoting the sport either. And I guarantee you that part of some of his problem with media, with old media, is that they spend more time bitching about the game than promoting it. And yet, what did you do? Your most viral moment was you bitching about the game. So to me, like I said, man, like this either like if it was up to me, if I was the commissioner, I just keep the game I just keep it East versus West. Like, F it. At the end of the day, who cares? At the end of the day, all this promoting and all that other stuff is all about money anyway. So just make it East versus West and hope the guys try. Pretty much, that's really all you can hope for. Is the guys try. But I don't want to hear the belly aching from the players about why the game is what it is, because that's on you guys also. That's on y'all. So, man, I think that's it, man. I gotta charge my phone. Yeah, I gotta charge my phone. Anyways, this will be 186. I'm out. Have a good day.